as far as War Thunder is concerned, with the backlash over the stock syndrome grind and the FPE and parts fiasco that has been in the recent couple of weeks, has led everyone to a general feeling of annoyance from the players and, well, from the community as a whole. But Gaijin seems to have this disconnection from their players. And this disconnect runs deep and has been shown time and time again. To add to this fire, today, Gaijin emailed the content partners, the people who produce War Thunder content in exchange for Golden Eagles, or a test drive, or even access to the new vehicles permanently, or as on the dev server. Now, many of us content creators feel that we're being treated second-hand, because the disconnect between content creator and Gaijin is even more than what would originally be conceived. Sure, we get emails about new stuff all the time, and some of which are confidential and we're not allowed to tell you, and in exchange we can do videos on the topics or what have you. But when Gaijin emailed me today, I had to read through it, and it didn't quite make sense. As you know, they're a Russian company, and sometimes the translation gets a bit weird. So the email starts off pretty normal. Hello Ash, as you might have already heard, we're working on some significant changes to our content partnership program, blah 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 blah. Some corporate talk on the top. Now let's talk about the specific changes. Now the first point is pretty, they've hired a new employee to deal with the incoming requests and to manage the vehicle requests and the various other bits and pieces, and he does social media and all that kind of stuff. That's something that has already been introduced to us, and it's been a thing for a long while. It's the second point which it sort of indicates to me that there could be a bit of an issue here. It says, the second major difference will be changes to how we support content partners. Okay. For their video and streaming, in the past 3 years, our major concern was the channel's number of subscribers or followers. But from past experience, this reflects the quality of the content and activity of the content creator very poorly. Okay. First off, if you're gonna say it like that, well, that's kind of a low baller to those of us who have grinded and tried to produce free, entertaining content for your game. But anyway, let's continue. We have seen channels with low subscriber base performing really great, and on the contrary, channels with high subscriber base performing not so well. That's why we've decided that views or viewers should be our main concern for your further support. Are you fucking serious, mate? Think about the implications this has. Alright, just think about this way. I have 4,000 subscribers. On average, I get 600 views per War Thunder video. It used to be averaged around 1.2k, depending on what the content was about, and this is for videos that A, cover the dev server, or cover important topics, or I've clickbaited to shit and, well, they've blown up. There's several videos on my channel like that. But, to me, going from a subscriber base with a dedicated community to something that is, viewer-based, is not really the best way to go about getting new content creators to then, introduce new audience to War Thunder. Anyway, the third point here. We will be taking into account other important factors, like frequency or quality of your creations, and will be eager to individually discuss your proposals and what we can do for each other, in more flexible ways than previously. Okay, so, like frequency of quality of your creations. Okay, so does that mean that if I make 3 videos this month that are really high quality, for example, like Squire, does that mean I'm still in the partnership program? Or if I make 30 videos in 2 months, one every 2 days, based on really terribly made videos, and they get relatively low views, does that mean that I'm not in the content partner program anymore? So there's little holes like this that kind of irritate me. Now, on my Discord, in my lounge chat, I posted a picture. And it was a link directly to the new content partnership requirements. And so, okay, I opened this up, and it says, Do you regularly upload or stream gaming related content on YouTube or Twitch TV? Do you have more than, and get this, 500 views per video, or 10 viewers per stream on average? And do you want to maintain a War Thunder as an active part of your channel? Currently, I get maybe 600 views per video. I've got 4,300 or 4,400 subscribers at this point in time. And if I go to do a live stream, depending on what it is and what time of day, I haven't quite figured out a method or methodology for this. At what point do I, no longer serve the interest of the content partnership program? At what point can Gaijin then say, oh, actually, in 3 months' time, we're going to change the numbers. You need 1,000 views per video, and you need 20 or 100 viewers on stream per average in order to get into a partnership program. I find that basing it off views is kind of an insult to those who are really struggling within the War Thunder community, especially those who are just starting out and those who are creating videos. And there are some phenomenally good videos out there about War Thunder that have far higher quality in production. And here they are, sending us an email like that. It's sending the wrong signals. On the other hand, I get that Gaijin wants more promotion for their game. They want more positive people for their game. They want more content and more search results in the search engine optimization. They want their game up there above other games. But to go from a subscriber count, because it used to be 1,500 subscribers to get in, to a view-based per video. At what point do they turn around and say, hang on, we can change the numbers here because we don't feel like that's being adequate? The terms and conditions isn't exactly that well laid out, and I'd like there to be more of an emphasis on what and how come, because what defines the frequency or quality of the creations? Is this going to be an individual basis, or are they just going to cut out videos from people who have worked hours and hours on making content about your video game? And with everything that's going on with War Thunder currently, with the backlash over the stock syndrome, and the FPE and parts fiasco that Sean, their main War Thunder person who operates the War Thunder channel, coming out publicly and saying that it's like receiving a free Abrams. I think that the disconnect between Gaijin and the player base is a considerable amount. And even as a content creator, I can't believe that they're now, after a few days, after not saying anything publicly about the FP and parts fiasco, and not publicly addressing that, to then email all the content partners to say that they've changed to a view-based system, or changing to a view-based system. I find that incredibly suspicious. Does that mean that they can kick out people because they meet only 300 views? What if it's a bad month? What if YouTube does something to the algorithm and completely cuts off simulation videos? Or, videos that look at World War II genres or aspects in wargaming? And then you've got all the competition with everybody else, and I honestly think that it's going to create more harm than good. But that's just my opinion. From what you've heard of me say about this so far, what do you think? Honestly, I'm at a shock with everything going on in the background. Is this just the end for War Thunder? Are we seeing War Thunder devolve into a fight over who's going to get the most views? Is this the reason why, all the other content creators that I've been, hanging out with have been clickbaiting to shit because they're not getting the regular views they used to if they just title the video normally? And this ties into motivation issues that I have been having recently. The channel hasn't been doing too badly, but it hasn't been doing fantastically. I think every content creator goes through the ups and downs. My last Crash with Ash, I talked about motivation and other issues briefly, and I mentioned that I was going to change up my content. Well, War Thunder-wise, there's no exact room for me to grow as a content creator. Sure, I can continue doing War Thunder videos and pump out War Thunder videos and continue doing that. Continue on the train that I'm going on, regardless of whether I haven't uploaded in the last 2 weeks. But the disconnect from Gaijin to their players, and even the disconnect between the content creators and then the players and then upwards, us as media are responsible for conveying what Gaijin have set out. And if we're all fighting for views, that's going to cause a bit of issues. And this ties into motivation. Now, recently I did a test period for a while, and I uploaded a video a day as a part of more of a test run to see if I could produce daily content like many of the other content creators do on this very platform. The results were impressive, although the content was not my best, and while the views did fairly well, considering the fact that it was the 1.81 dev server had been up and there was new and fresh content, but I felt extremely burnt out with War Thunder. I don't know, this whole War Thunder thing, it seems to be a revolving circle. Gaijin does something players don't like, players stir up a fuss. Okay, content creators talk about this, or content creators talk about a solution. Gaijin says no, they come up with their own solution. More backlash. Round and around we go. It doesn't help that Gaijin have the idea that there is short-term goals, and that when they go out to publish, a particular game, or a patch, we're talking about War Thunder here, they'll introduce some new content at top tier for everyone to grind through, so that way they've got that. But it feels like it's a short-term goal and nothing else is getting developed. And even though they continue to pump out the hype train, and oh my god, look at this new vehicle that does this and this and this, that's out at top tier, so you have to grind through and grind 400,000 research points to get it. And then they release, the patch, and the patch day goes live, and everyone goes, oh, look at my new shiny vehicle that I paid like 20, 30 bucks for, or sometimes 60, 70 bucks for, depending on what tier the premium vehicle is. Oh my god, it's new and great and wonderful and fantastic. Within a week, that player base that has come back that is still actively interested in War Thunder has basically disappeared, because they realise that it's a hype train, so new content's coming out, great, wonderful, they do a dev blog, everyone gets excited, everyone talks about the possibilities of those particular or potential uses for these vehicles. You then get, great, patch day, everyone goes ballistic. A week later, those older players who have played the game for the best part of probably 2 or 3 years, and even players like myself who are definitely veterans who have played the game for 6 years, come back, play a couple of games and realise it's the same shit but a different day. And I just find that incredibly disheartening. It's a part of the reason why I have been feeling burnt out, and there's been a lack of content. And I think I say this in every Crash with Ash. Every content creator goes through issues, emotionally, physically, because this media, this place that we choose to put up our creativity, it's hard work. It is hard work. And to those people who think that YouTube is not a job, think about it this way. All the content creators here who create War Thunder videos, or do live streams of War Thunder, are promoting War Thunder. It's giving Gaijin free incentive, or, for a lack of words, free advertisement. I don't know, it's hard for me to get excited about the new content, as I've kind of seen it all. And like many miles away, and Mike Goes Boom and several other content creators, we are all burnt out of War Thunder. Most of the content creators here have been playing the War Thunder as for the better part of 3, 4, even 5 or 6 years. I've been playing the game for 6 years. And as going from a player to a content creator, you get to know a lot of the ins and outs. And you'll find out that the community, the War Thunder community, is certainly one of the most depressing places, because it's hard to discuss issues and talk about solutions and talk about positive outcomes and what would be good for the game and what would be bad for the game without most of the people complaining about how the game is going to die and it's too hard. And legitimately, Gaijin, I understand that they have their own ideals, but maybe a little more communication on your part would actually help the community a bit better. Settle those worries, settle those anxiety, allow the community to discuss those various bits and pieces. But the game's community as a whole has been acting like they are able to change the game for the better, and I kind of feel like it doesn't help It doesn't help with the burnout situation that many of the content creators are going on about, as stated, you know, just then. Nobody kicked up a fuss when they introduced the market, literally just after all the fiasco with EA and their Star Wars Battlefront, you know, pay-to-win loot boxes. Nobody kicked up a fuss about the Gaijin market at all. And then they went to paid modifications. That's when the community decided to band together and then change the community and feel like they could change the game. So I think the mental attitude for most of the community at the moment is to, A, think that they are capable of changing the game, which could be right within several civil discussions, I think. But they're going about it the wrong way, and I think Gaijin understand this and have been trying to, like, hopefully it's like water under a bridge, oh, we'll just forget about it. So something's got to change. But hopefully in saying that, I'm not really the person who has a suggestion for helping the community get over its issues. And I don't have a solution for Gaijin introducing more communication with its player base. I honestly don't think that anything will change. It's probably going to go on for a few months like this. In fact, you know, a couple more years. At the rate that Gaijin is going, if they don't change something soon and they don't start, A, either listening to their player base or discussing this with their player base and open polls and various things like they have done in the past, I can estimate that Gaijin, or, you know, War Thunder as a game will probably last another year or so if things continue like this. I love War Thunder. I've dedicated hours and hours of my time to the game, and the disconnect here is just fucking unreal. Considering the fact that even though I had access to the dev server and I was excited to play the dev server, when the patch eventually went live, I didn't have that same motivation to grind the patch or grind those specific vehicles to make even more content on about to see how they'd fit in the live server, only because I'd seen it all throughout the dev server. In terms of War Thunder as a whole, could I produce more content that'd be fresh and up to date and allow me to grow a user base through War Thunder if this continued disconnect with the community, the players, the content creators? Probably not. And with the community taking a stand against Gaijin's bullshit, the inability to change the most vital aspects of the game for the better have really put me off playing War Thunder. And this is why the game, for many of us vehicle enthusiasts, with dreams for good balance, realism and fun, really feel like it's making it hard for seasoned players to stay. And when they won't have any more players to milk dry, the game will ultimately, inevitably, fail. Think about it this way. Gaijin created the biggest collection of World War II vehicles in ever. The largest collection of vehicles in any video game, World War II vehicles specifically. And they built a fantastic game around it. But it's beyond me why they hide all of the content behind a ridiculous grind, which is why it drove so many of the players away from the game. On top of the mild censoring and the mentality that, you know, the players won't get what they need, and Gaijin's mentality, if they frustrate their players, they won't make any money. Did it ever occur to them that if they didn't frustrate their players so much, they would spend money because they want to, not because they feel as if they have to be more proactive in a match? It's a fantastic game, but it definitely needs several improvements. It just makes me think about War Thunder and what should have been. I mean, it's got vast landscapes, interesting and varied battles, vivid graphics, and many players undertaking a journey in which they explore the elements and things within War Thunder. What is this vehicle, and how do I use it, and what was its purpose? Does it fit my playstyle? This exact momentum drives us players to unlock new vehicles and explore War Thunder's potential. It has such a great potential. Yet we're interestingly left with some parallels between real life and in-game. Sure, many of us are striving for as much historical representation as possible. But with a game comes sacrifices, and not everything is going to be 100% accurate. Even so, with a community that was once banded together that is now divided, we all have admiration for the friends, the good times that we've had along the way. We all know that we can truly improve the game. Sure, there are bugs, many issues and things, and, well, players wanted this and that to be fixed within War Thunder, but you have to admit, no matter what happens, it's still a bloody fucking good game. Is there other games like it, with this much diversity in playstyles and team play, where every battle could mean a different result based on every player's decisions? I think not. Besides, for all the good times and for the not good times, we as a community have made the game what it is today. If War Thunder is going to get better, it's because some of us care about certain vehicles and have a passion for history. Even if you used War Thunder as a stepping stone to move on to more simulation-focused titles or other games in general, or a regular player like me also who happens to produce content on the side, you have to admit, despite all its issues, War Thunder has brought us together in some way or another.